So I guess this is the first part of Panther Talks, which, by the way, I named that just to give you the heads up, Will. The entire reason that it's named like that, not just because it takes from our names, but also simply because there's a very famous German tank known as the Panzer.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's where it came from.
And
Don't know why.
isn't there also a Panzerschreck,
Yeah,
which is a launcher from
Panzer
which I
Strike. Yeah,
remember playing in the old World of War game.
exactly. That's the one entirely.
Love it, dude.
But yeah, this is our first episode of this podcast that we're trying to throw together. Let's see how this goes.
Yeah,
But
plenty of duct
basically,
tape and bad glue involved.
oh, 100%. That's just how we work in general. But primarily we'll be focusing on like entertainment news, so gaming, occasional movies and film shows, and some technology. That's pretty much how we'll be working this, just as a general understanding of what we'll be doing. But yeah, let's pretty much get into it. As
Yes.
we were discussing beforehand, we were discussing Blizzard.
Yes. And I believe, Roy, you're very unhappy with Blizzard at the moment.
Yeah, so they locked my account out. Reason is,
Yeah, let's go back to the roots. How did this first happen?
so what happens is, on my new device, whenever I get a new phone or anything, Blizzard automatically forced me to install their authenticator app to get logged in and log out. You need this, otherwise you cannot play the later Call of Duty games, which is a load of bollocks. Um, so anyways, I installed it, got it up and running, and about a year and a half ago, I had to get this reset because I switched to my current phone. So I reset it, got it all sorted, happy days. Now, I don't know if you know about this, but with newer phones, what they do is any application you don't use often gets put into sleep mode. So all the
Hmm.
authentication methods, like usernames, passwords, etc., they all get locked out.
Oh, lovely.
Now, to log into the Microsoft to the Blizzard Authenticator, you have to use your authenticator to authenticate your login.
Well, that seems like a bit of a paradox.
Exactly. Now, I've tried creating forum posts to get assistance with it, and even the moderators have come back to me, sent me an email to my email account saying, look, this is what we can do. To respond to us, follow this link. You click the link to make your comment, to respond with the details they request, you need to be logged in.
Oh, wow.
To be logged in, I need my authenticator.
So it's just a never-ending cycle.
Exactly that. There is no way for me to actually get further in this. I've reached out to Twitter support and they said, yeah, look, you can open a ticket here with this link. Yes, you can open the ticket, but you cannot respond back to the moderators of the ticket. So there's nothing I can really do currently. I'm half tempted to start spamming their support email. That's my next plan of action, anyways, but it's been, I think, 2.5, 3 months at this point.
I'd
So,
imagine you've bought a few games through your account, so it's probably worth a few hundred.
yeah, I own Diablo 3, I think 3 of the Call of Duty games, and a few other bits and bats.
When Call of Duty alone charge absurd prices for their games, considering the
Yeah,
millions and millions of people that buy them,
considering.
they could honestly charge a tenner and still make millions.
Oh, 100%.
But
Um,
welcome to the world of money.
ain't that the truth?
Them alone are probably near 200 quid plus DLC. The amount of that they release, you know.
Yeah, and these were pre-orders.
Yeah, so they are even more expensive then. So easily 200 you spent on
Oh,
Call of
yeah.
Duties alone. And ain't nobody'd like to lose money.
No, not at all. But yeah, Blizzard are on my bad list until they eventually get that sorted.
Thankfully, I've not had that issue myself.
Oh, you're lucky. You are very lucky.
Uh, I might speak too soon. You never know what might happen.
All of a sudden, Blizzard has locked out your account.
actually had to log in yesterday. It was the first time I opened it in quite a while because I was just wanting to check Diablo 3. Because I suggested my mate play it with me. So we can play Diablo 4 when it came out because it does, as it was rumored, or at least what I heard anyways, it was apparently just going to be a continuation Diablo 4
All
of
right.
Diablo 3. And it quite looks like that. It looks like just new enemies, new maps, and new playable characters, which sounds great to me. You know, I would have absolutely loved that because Diablo 3 was phenomenal.
Yeah, I mean, I'd love to get into it when I get my
Yes,
account.
I was saying to him about it, and as I launched Blizzard to have a look at Diablo 3, Diablo 4 was shown for pre-order. So
Why,
I
hey?
was quite excited to see that.
Hmm. Just it. It's something I would like to get into. I started Diablo 3 on Blizzard, and that's actually the reason I re-downloaded it
Do you
once
get
I'd...
it anywhere other than Blizzard?
I don't believe so.
Yeah, I've not seen it anywhere.
You know what? I actually do have a secondary camera set up for this exact reason, so I can actually look and share my screen so that people can see these things. Um, so we're looking for Diablo 3. Blizzard, Battle.net, Wikipedia. Yeah, so no.
Oh, Wikipedia. That's
Wikipedia.
that sounds like a great idea. Go download Diablo 3 through Wikipedia. Yep.
I
Let me know
wonder.
how many viruses you get.
1 second. Re-download. Aw.
Oh no, don't do that.
Oh
Don't do
wait.
that.
Starting at BlizzCon in October 2011, Blizzard offered an annual pass for World of Warcraft where players who signed up for a 12-month subscription received a free copy of Diablo 3 once released. Oh, never mind, thank you Wikipedia for the random information.
Hmm.
Oh, good old Wikipedia. Um, but yeah, I'd say Blizzard are going to be in my bad books until they eventually get the things out and figure out what needs
Eventually being the
solving.
key word.
Yeah, I can't see them changing, if I'm honest. It's just, it's not in their nature. It's really not. It's kind of sad. Um, but yeah, anyways, before we actually started the recording, you were having a bit of a fit about Rust.
Yes, there's a new industrial update coming out, which I'm sure the players of Rust are creaming over. I guess I'll use that pen.
I'll actually show the screenshots that you sent me.
It
Uh,
looks like a mess, honestly. I I imagine they would plan to work on cleaning it up, but it looks horrific at the moment. It's Rust is not very well optimized as it is once bases start getting built, especially with the huge zergs that play the game. You know, you got these enormous bases that once they start rendering in, you get about 40 frames even on a bloody good PC. And you got streamers with 3090s in their PCs and they're getting 40 to 60 frames with a base loading in.
uh,
But once you have to start loading in all the pipes and wires, there's going to be for the new update that they're going to release planned next month. Next month, I believe, it's going to be even worse. So
I'm actually surprised that we've not hit a point yet when it comes to Rust that something catastrophic's not happened, like fucking game crashes. You know, like the don't know if you've ever heard of it, the Minecraft chunk banning from bugs.
I know of it, but I don't know much about it.
Basically, when there's just way too much happening in one area, that whenever someone
Yeah,
goes into that area, it causes a just crash
yeah,
entirely.
just instantly crash. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm surprised none of that's happened with any of these big Zerg builds. But from the sounds of things of FPS drops, I don't think it's far off.
Well, I think the main Fist Punch servers are like the worst for it because there's not only just cheaters everywhere, but there's Zergs everywhere.
Yeah,
And I'm pretty sure like every Zerg has a cheater in it, and I mean it may as well be that may as well be the case. Especially when you see the streamers fighting them, and there's just like majority of them are just awful at the game. But then you just got this one or two people that are just godlike at the game.
yeah,
And then you check their profiles, they got like 500 hours in the game. It's like,
yeah. It just doesn't really match up, does it?
But like, there's some servers like there's just Zergs on every grid,
Yeah,
I mean, it may as well be anyway. That's what it feels like. The amount of bases that you're going to render in as you're running around, it just destroys your PC.
sounds bloody insane. It really does. But yeah, the amount with this new update and all the piping and things, it just does not look.
It doesn't look great, does it?
No, it reminds me, as you said earlier, it reminds me of the wiring update when they first brought that out, where basically things would just clip through walls and just go everywhere, and you'd be like, okay, why? This looks awful. Give me a way
Seems
to neat it
it
up.
seems to have the exact same mechanic as the wires. Like, sure, you can do them all neat and tidy, but that doesn't change a thing in performance wise. You'd
No,
actually be better just taking it from one thing straight to another, because
oh,
then there'd be
100%.
a smaller entity.
Yeah, that's very true, actually. Go the quickest path rather than the shortest. Because the more entities that are there, worse it will get.
It's nice to have your wires like nicely organized so they're not going through walls. You stick to the walls instead of just jumping from one place to another where there's just then a straight line of wire going right through. It's like you're clipping through it because it's not got a solid hitbox, obviously. So you
Yeah,
like to keep it like you take it from the point you go along the wall, you go up to the roof, along the ceiling to make it look nice.
yeah.
But that then obviously means that it goes for longer, which means it's a larger entity. Once you start getting all those pipes added in, and the pipes like the where the pipes go to, I believe also need electricity because you need switches and stuff to link it all up. So you're just adding probably easy 100 entities on to another base, and that's only a small base.
Mhm.
Let alone what the Zergs are going to be doing with it.
Oh, 100%. I mean, they are the kind of people that will use lag to try and win a match, so.
I don't get how you raid them or how they would even defend their own base getting raided, because they peek out their window and be on 20 frames from their own base, just
Mhm.
killing them.
Oh, it's mental. Really is.
But I avoid it because it's not fun to play,
Mm.
you know? I've had more than enough experience playing on a bad PC getting low frame rate.
Oh no, 100%, mate. It's just, it's one of those games, I think, at this point that before anything else gets added, they need to try and optimize it. And
Again,
if,
that's what I was saying earlier. Because they like to force out a monthly update on the first Thursday of every month. They put too much pressure on themselves, so they can't refine things down.
no,
I
exactly.
understand, like, to keep your game alive, you need to do something like that. But at the same time, they're slowly killing it with adding stuff that's like just kind of useless. Like, there's been a few updates the last few months where it's just been lighting updates, and
Oh,
the only thing
bloody
that's
hell.
done is made it that once you go inside a building, you can barely see anything.
That just sounds daft. It
It's not great.
really does.
It doesn't make sense because that's not how my eyes work, you know.
Yeah.
When it's 12 o'clock at night and it's pitch black outside and my curtains closed so the lights outside could barely get in, if at all, I can still see fairly well.
Hmm.
You know, I don't all of a suddenly just lose all my eyesight.
Yeah, no, exactly.
So it bugs me slightly, but what can you do?
Sadly, that is the main case, isn't it? There isn't much that really can be done. It's just hoping for the best, I suppose. But,
Keep hitting the opposite.
yeah, that's the thing, isn't it? That there is no, like, full on option.
That's
You just.
That's kind of why sometimes I just don't play. Like when they released the Recoil update, I was kind of about it, and I didn't play for the first 2 months after Recoil update.
Hmm.
And then when I finally got back on, they changed it so much and made it so easy that it's like I'd been playing it since it came out, you know?
Yeah. No, I can
But
understand
like,
that.
the Recoil update wasn't necessarily so bad because it gives everyone a chance. The only
Yeah.
problem is now, like, if you're fighting long range, it's either a sniper or you just need to be lucky
Yeah.
because of the aim cone of guns now.
Changed them too much.
Well, you know what I mean by aim cone, yeah? There's basically where you're firing. We'll say, for example, there's a small circle
Yeah.
that obviously gets wider as it goes further. and
Yeah.
your bullets can shoot anywhere in that circle when you're firing. They can go in any direction inside of that circle. So the
Hmm.
further you go, the less likely you are to hit someone because of your aim cone. So obviously there's attachments, so the laser and the hollow will give you, I think, a 60% increase in accuracy in total. So they shrink your aim cone basically by 60%, or at least that's the general concept behind it, I would imagine.
Yeah.
But without those, your guns are just horrific in accuracy. Now, it made the most sense for SMGs because before the recoil update, the MP5 and the Thompson, two SMGs, you were getting absolutely destroyed by them at 300 meters,
Yeah.
which was just absurd to me. So it made sense for those, like, but now those guns, you'd be lucky. Sometimes you'll lose the easiest fights at 50 meters because you get the most ridiculous aim cone that just paints a circle around their head.
Jesus. So
Like
yeah,
you
it's
could, I would love to
problematic
see
in
it.
that sense.
I would love to see an aimbot of it where it keeps your iron sight on their head the whole time, but just to see the aim cone and see how many bullets it actually takes to kill the person
Yeah.
because the bullets still miss.
No, I can understand that, to be honest.
That means it means you're not getting like insta killed from hundreds of meters away. That is great. They needed to change that, and it makes sense for that. But the problem is there's only two guns that really get used now. It's the semi-automatic rifle and the AK.
Hmm.
Because the semi-automatic rifle is basically it basically doesn't have aim cone half the time, is what it feels like.
Yeah.
You know, there's very little aim cone. And it doesn't make sense because there's a marksman rifle that is a military weapon that you can only find and not craft that has horrific aim cone in comparison to it.
Bloody hell. So yeah, they've made a slight mess, to say the least.
Yeah, they also let slug shots for shotguns run rampant for I don't know how long. Basically, pump slug became a meta. Pump shotgun with slugs rounds in it.
Yeah.
You could so you could the highest protection you can get is 50% on your head, which is the metal face mask.
Yeah.
Next under that, well, that's excluding the pot helmet, but that makes you move slowly, so no one obviously runs around with it on because you wouldn't be running. But
100%.
next underneath that is 35% protection. That's with either a coffee can or a wolf headdress with bandana on.
Okay.
You were getting one tapped to the head by a pump slug if you were like 50 meters away, which sure at the same isn't much, but to be one tapped like that by a gun that's really easy to get a hold of, like even in a pipe shotgun, which is like a crude weapon that you can get your hands on very easily, especially when the Christmas update came out there. You
Yeah.
were able to get them out from the presents very, very easily. And slugs you find fairly commonly as well, surprisingly commonly. And you would get one tap from that to the head. And to die like that, it's like so quickly. Like it's not like it's a high-powered sniper rifle here. It's a shotgun shooting a slug. So that got nerfed really hard. So to get one shot headshot by a slug now, you have to be like 30 meters away. And after that, the drop off damage goes down really quick.
Jesus.
I think a slug will do like 48 to 52 damage to your head if you're at like maximum drop off distance now,
Fucking hell.
which is a huge decrease.
Yeah. So at least they fucking sorted it, but should have
I
been
mean,
tested more thoroughly.
it ran rampant for a couple of months, I think, because
Fucking hell.
it wasn't really on the radar for anyone. There
Hmm.
was one streamer that I knew of that was just constantly running it, and he was absolutely insane with it. And then more people started picking it up, and slowly more and more, and then everyone started running it.
And at that point, it was realised.
Yeah, at that point, it's okay. Something needs to be done here because it's ridiculous.
Sounds about right, to be honest. Um, so last night I went around and started having a bit of a look, and
Yeah.
I came across a few bits of tidbits in the gaming industry that I thought was quite interesting. I'd like to kind of hear what you've got to think about these. So, how big of a fan were you of the Dead Space games?
Dead Space I never really played actually.
Really?
There's a lot of games that I just never really got around to, just because of where I was in life. It wasn't really an option for me to play them.
No, understandable.
Did you know there's actually a Dead Space game coming out in 12 days?
Yeah, they're remaking. They're basically they're remastering the original, but they're also adding a few new bits to bring it up to times. Apparently,
Yeah.
it looks stunning. The original game looked good for its time, but now it just looks phenomenal. Um, but basically, the developers of Dead Space they kind of split apart after the third game, I think it was, and
Yeah.
one of the co-creators split apart from this new Dead Space that they're bringing out and created his own game, which is very much Dead Space like. And this game's known as the Callisto Protocol. Now, you might have
Definitely seen
seen
that
that.
before.
Yeah. Now, when I first saw it, I thought it looks stunning because graphically, beautiful game. Problem came up. I saw the controls of the person who was playing it.
Oh, you know what? I'm actually watching Markiplier play this at the minute. So I've seen like the first 2 hours of gameplay, maybe.
Have you seen the controls?
No, because obviously he doesn't like have his keybinds shown or anything. But I'm already not really a fan of the combat system.
Yeah, that's what I
It's not
mean.
really what I like.
Same. For me, a combat system, it has to be it can't be clunky.
No,
Um,
definitely not.
but the other thing is, if you commit to an action in a game, you kind of expect to deal with the consequences of you doing that. So, for example, if I was to roll in a Dark Souls game and he hit exactly where I was rolling to, I'd expect
You,
to be under. That'd be my issue. I fucked
yeah,
that
like
up.
you can't do anything about that. You're already
Yeah,
rolling. You can't just stop rolling. That's not how it works.
exactly. Callisto Protocol's control scheme. I uh, I was watching someone when it first came out, and he was playing it on PC. Now I'm gonna read off some of the keybinds that I remember. To dodge backwards, you have to press S. Now, dodging backwards, you'd expect that you'd have to like hold S and probably press space to step back quickly, something along
Yeah.
those lines. No, what happens is, if someone's coming towards you and you're holding S, it will immediately go into a quick animation of you dodging out of the way. The same for if you go A or D for left or right. If you dodge left when someone's attacking, you'll dodge to the left. Right to the right. There's an animation for it. It's not you doing it, it's basically a QTS. Uh,
Yeah.
QTE, sorry.
Yeah. Yeah. A quick time event.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, when I found that, I thought that's fucking weird. Can't be any weirder than that. No, that they upped themselves.
Hmm.
So, when you shoot in a PC game, what do you do? Tell me your basically how you'd go about shooting a gun in any PC game you've ever picked up.
Typically, I aim, so I'd hold right click and then I'd press or hold left click depending on the kind of gun.
Yeah, same. I would not do what the Callisto Protocol does, where I'd hold down right click and then press E to shoot.
Huh?
Yep. Left click is melee. You hold down right click
Why?
to aim, you press E to fire, and you left click to melee.
Why are they not the same? Why is it not just dependent on if you're holding a gun or not?
That's the big question. Now, it seems that many people must have agreed that the control scheme is absolutely shocking because now basically, sorry, that should lead to what you were saying at the beginning where you said the combat looks clunky. The control scheme might make some answers there as to why it's so clunky.
Hmm.
Well, seems people agreed. Analysts have apparently lowered the sales target. Analysts lower sales targets for Callisto Protocol. Apparently, it's done so fucking bad when it's come to the open market.
Wait, actually?
Apparently so. Now, what I'm going to quickly do. So I've not actually checked Steam on the Callisto Protocol. I've not seen it on the main
Reviews are
page.
mixed.
Ooh,
Um,
it was at £50 when it came out.
it's still at that. It's on a weekend deal at the minute, down to 20% off.
Ah,
But it's
that way.
still default of £49 or
Let's go
69.99
pull this
for
up.
a digital deluxe edition. And there's even a season pass, which I'm imagining is what the digital deluxe edition
Have you
includes.
actually seen what the season pass is?
I have not, no.
Dora DLC, dig deeper into the horrifying secrets of the Callisto Protocol. But why?
Is that
Riot
it?
Bundle. Venture into previously undiscovered area of Black Iron Prison and battle through waves of brutal enemies. Gather credits and upgrade your weapons. Basically, it's literally just a little section. Right.
They
Basically,
reckon that
it's a
you
wave
can.
system.
They reckon you can run their game on a 1060.
Yeah, so they claim. There was someone who I
And
was watching who had a 4080 and couldn't run it above
but
60.
even better, the recommended is only a 1070.
Now, I'm going to read to you the last bit of the season pass. The
Yeah.
Contagion bundle also includes 13 new Jacob death animations.
Death animations.
Yes, this is what people were ribbing them for, because, oh, here's another one. The Riot bundle also includes 12 new enemy death animations. Basically, this is the first company ever to put a price on death animations.
Hmm. So that's something else.
It is, yeah. So you're paying an extra, that's extra 20 quid, basically, for some story in death animations and
Hmm.
skins.
It's not great.
Not particularly, no. And let's have a read of this review real quick. Not fun to play, writing was very poor, and this full-priced game doesn't even give you a complete story. However, the graphics are very pretty. Maybe the devs should try and make animated movies instead.
Here you are. Here's I was just mentioning about the system requirements. There's a guy saying he's got terrible performance on a 9th gen i9 9900K at 5 gigahertz with an Asus TUF 3080 12 gig.
Right,
And he's
that
getting about 50 frames average from the seems of what he's saying.
that's my computer spec. I run a 9900K, and I've got a 3080 Ti in my PC.
Well, apparently you'll be lucky to get 90 frames. Says the game is broken. Simply put, he's averaging wild FPS swings from 45 to 90 frames. And most of the times the frames will be reading something like 50 plus, but the game lag makes it feel like it's running at 20 frames.
Fucking hell. I mean, here's another one here. A visual masterpiece with a bloated story and boring gameplay that rode on the hype of legendary Dead Space but got derailed.
Hmm.
It's
I'm
like,
seeing that one now.
so the basic understanding is it's very similar to Dead Space but missing everything that made it Dead Space. And no fucking, it's not even able to run.
You know, I have to give it that review I just read out. This guy has some patience. That is 26 hours on record. He played like that.
Yeah, I couldn't do that. Fuck
That
that.
that's impressive.
Oh,
I think that's when he wrote his review as well at the end because there's no in brackets saying what time it was reviewed at. Like the one below that,
yeah,
the guy has 18.1 hours, but the review is at 17.2 hours gameplay. So
yeah,
he
so
played 26 hours of a brand new game that came out in the last month of 2022 at 50 frames on
that's
a
just,
high spec PC.
that's mental.
That is tough. That's what that is.
100%. I like this one. Product was received to for free. TLDR, game is good, but I suggest waiting for a definitive, as not only the performance is pretty bad, they also did the we cut the end of the game and selling it as DLC thing, which is kind of despicable.
That's a running theme with games at the minute, though.
Oh, 100%.
I can't wait for that period of time to be over.
Oh, I know what you mean. Well, don't worry, we don't just have Callisto Protocol to discuss today.
Oh,
We
lovely.
also have the man, the myth, the legend, Ubisoft.
Oh God,
So, I don't know if you heard about this, but I came across an article last night from 2 days ago, and it basically got Ubisoft's logo, and it says, the games industry is destroying itself. Now, I know what this is going on about, I never even read the article. But basically, what had gone off, Ubisoft ended up cancelling another 2 games recently. They were planning to create a VR version of Splinter Cell. I don't know if you know this, but Splinter Cell is one of my all-time favorite game series.
I remember it.
I
Very
absolutely
old now.
loved.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I absolutely loved it though. Fantastic for its time. And I reckon if they actually would put the time and effort in and get the good amount of people working on it, they could probably make a really good VR stealth game.
It'd be cool.
It would. It'd be very interesting. Adding the mechanics of climbing, because Splinter Cell is what he spent most of his time doing, Sam
Oh yeah.
Fisher.
Falling
Um,
upside down on a pipe above
yeah,
his head, just drop on him and knee into his shoulder and knock him clean out.
exactly. But, a good climbing mechanic, a good stealth mechanic, and a good shooting mechanic. Combine those 3 things, you could make a really good Splinter Cell game. But they cancelled it recently. They've cancelled quite a few, actually. And to go alongside this, because I came across this one not long after, uh, you there's 2 actually here. They've had to claim and actually stand by the fact that Beyond Good and Evil 2 is still in development. You know, that game that the original came out. Fucking hell, when did that happen again? Let me see. Beyond Good and Evil. So, Beyond Good and Evil, the original game, released in 2003.
Oh,
20 years this year.
wow.
And they're still working on a sequel. And this sequel was announced. Release trailer. Let's go for that. 2017.
2017.
Yes, the release trailer was released in 2017. They also released a cinematic trailer in 2018 and 2019. But apparently, the original Beyond Good and Evil trailer.
It sounds like they're working harder on trailers than they are the actual game.
Yeah, considering the original Beyond Good and Evil 2 trailer was actually released in 2008. And apparently there was also a gameplay demo uploaded in 2009
For the original.
for the second one.
Oh, for the what?
Yeah, they had a trailer and everything out and a demo, but never released the game. They never got to the point.
There.
So
That
yeah,
cannot be good for business.
no, 100% not. But then alongside that, they had to announce that another game was still in development. Do you remember the absolutely legendary game that is Assassin's Creed Black Flag?
Assassin's Creed, now you're not going to like this, but Assassin's Creed was never a game I really got into.
To be
I don't
honest,
know, it slightly bored me.
for me, I enjoyed the Ezio games, which was 2, Brotherhood and Revelations. But that's because it was like literally stealth, a good story. I enjoyed that. Black.
When it comes to stealth, I enjoy shooting stealth rather than just going up and continuously stabbing.
No, I get you.
For example, Deus Ex, a phenomenal
Oh,
set
100%.
of games. Some of
Well,
my favorite for stealth.
no, I can see why, to be fair. But basically, Black Flag was all about being a pirate. So half of the game you spent.
That was the open world one, wasn't
It
it?
was, yes. You
Yes.
spent
Okay,
most of the
that
time.
that one I enjoyed to watch.
Yeah. So you remember the amazing, basically, mechanics in actually shooting other ships and shit like that? It was
Yeah,
quite enjoyable.
yeah.
They
There's something
decided,
different.
yeah, they decided to take that and try and create a multiplayer slash co-op game of it that isn't Sea of Thieves, um, and it was called Skull and Bones. Now,
I remember seeing that. I can't remember
yeah,
too much of it though. I watched a little bit of gameplay, but it was a while ago now that I remember.
yeah, exactly. Well, it was announced before, just before I think it was Sea of Thieves actually released. They've had to delay it for the third time. And apparently we'll be seeing more of it very soon. But it's missing its previous March release date, and yeah, they're going to be hosting a presentation. I think it's Friday. Yes. So
That'll
basically,
be
I've just
interesting, I'm
missed
sure.
it. They uploaded it on the 13th, I think it was, this presentation. But
They
basically,
uploaded their presentation on Friday the 13th.
yeah, they made a real logical idea about that, didn't they? Oh dear. But yeah, apparently the developers themselves promised they would share new information very soon. And yeah, kind of went downhill there.
Did they not share this new information when they did their presentation?
Let me have a look into that. I can pull it
Because
up.
that to me seems like the optimal time.
Yeah. Sorry, let me just go back to that screenshot that I took. Skull and Bones, that's the one. Skull and Bones. Here we are. Oh, we got even more information. Here we go. Ubisoft shows off Skull and Bones narrative gameplay in new dev stream.
Where is it? I guess actually, given what you just said, I'm guessing it's not even on a game launcher yet.
It should be on Uplay realistically.
I don't want to launch Ubisoft. I'm gonna be honest.
Neither do I.
It likes to just make itself known and just show itself over everything.
Doesn't it just? Right. I'm gonna send you a link here, we can actually just show this, and I'll activate this version. There we go. So they've actually got, if you look about 2 minutes 20 seconds in, they've got a slight bit of gameplay that they've pulled up. And to me, this just feels very much how Ubisoft are in general nowadays. A full RPG element.
Just walking nice and slow. That's great gameplay.
Yeah, I know, right? But messages in bottles, scraps of lost treasure, they're telling the story through factions. This just sounds like Sea of Thieves.
Hmm.
Wait, investigation. That to me sounds like blooming Hunt Showdown.
Not sure. Isn't that 3v3 game?
Yeah,
Or is that yeah, it's like you're in like a swamp or something.
yeah, exactly that.
Really, really strange mechanics to your health and all that.
Yeah, it's a very strange game, but very interesting.
Yeah, it was quite popular for a while there, wasn't it?
To be honest, mate, you still see a lot of people playing.
Yeah, I've not seen much of it recently.
Yeah, there's still quite a few, surprisingly enough. But yeah, weirdly enough, this seems like a typical. I mean, are we actually gonna see some sailing?
I don't know. I just
Oh,
saw them
here we
reading
go.
out a note for
Yeah,
a very long period of time.
if you go for about 5 minutes and 30 seconds,
Yeah,
this.
they're getting in a rowboat. Is this
Yeah,
not even an actual ship?
yeah, and then
So
immediately said set
imagine
sail.
they've not gotten in the boat, by the way. Oh,
You're kidding.
hang on, 6 minutes in, they're in a ship from the looks of it.
Oh, well, hey.
Well,
There's
they're
a.
on it. They're not necessarily. Oh,
Oh, he's
that
turning.
seems a little absurdly fast.
Yeah.
They just like propelled off of that beach.
Even bloody Black Flag had this set. Come on. What the hell's this sailing? Did they just attach an engine to the back?
Apparently so. Oh, you can just sit completely still and float, apparently,
This looks so
without
clunky.
dropping an anchor.
Yeah, because the boat's definitely going to listen to that.
The the speed they're turning, you would capsize yourself.
Oh, 100%. I like the lemur. That's about it.
Yeah, I saw him. Like even turning there at some point, like the ship is like near tipping over on its own.
Yeah. Okay, I like the way that they're able to check around themselves with the guy up top.
And see
That's
what loop
cool.
is possible.
Yeah, I like that idea. Well, a lot of this just feels very clunky. I get it's in work in progress gameplay, but
The guy in the crow's nest, when he switches from the left side to the right side, I don't think he ever touches the crow's nest, and then his hand just clips inside of it.
oh dear.
He's got nothing to actually grip onto. And there's a ship just doing a donut at 8 minutes 30. Basically, may as well.
8 minutes 30. Right, I'll get to see this in a second.
The way he turns, he may as well start doing a donut.
Here we go.
It actually just it looks like the back of the ship just spins in the on the axis of the front of the ship, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
Like the front of the ship is just used as an axis, and then you just spin around that for turning.
mental.
That's what it looks like.
See, one thing I will admit, it looks really nice
Yeah.
graphically, and it seems to play well. It just looks so clunky.
No, the movement of the ships doesn't look great.
No. Loot torn sail, harvest.
Oh, there they
Right.
are. If you go to about 11:10, you'll see some fighting. They're fighting a small ship.
Okay. That's the other thing. These plunders of
But you have to you have to manually start it. So it's not like ships just going around that'll come up and attack you because you're like in their water. You actually have to like go to your guy in the crow's nest and start a plunder,
yeah.
and a ship just spawned in for them to fight.
Also, have you noticed it's not really that skill based, it's number
No,
based.
it's also seems to be heavily aim assisted.
Yeah.
The second ship they fight at 11:20 is
Yeah, I
just
saw that.
aim locked on for them.
Like they just hit a hitbox, an invisible one.
Nice.
That's great. Hold to brace your
Yeah.
ship. Even Assassin's Creed did this right.
Apparently, a thin flag is a solid hitbox.
You saw that then.
Yeah.
This is so impressive.
Where did these massive ships just come from?
I'll find out in a second. Oh damn.
I'm so
Yeah, they really
confused.
did come from nowhere, didn't
They
they?
all of suddenly just started fighting these massive ships.
It just it doesn't seem to hit right, does it? Like this guy's took like no damage as well.
Yeah.
How's that way? He's been bombarded. Weak spots to hit. I'm sorry, I don't think a
His
load of
whole ship just
explosive
got
barrels.
set on fire. No,
Seriously.
all that happened was like if you go to 13:20, a ship is chasing
I'll be
him
there
out
in
of
a
the plunder
second.
zone. They get set on fire. Everyone just gets knocked to the ground, and the fire goes away
Let's
on
have a
its own.
look.
A wooden flammable ship just extinguished itself.
What the fuck? So what, is this the escape from Tarkov of the ocean?
Okay, a ship has just rammed into the side of him, like T-boned him. 1420. If you go to
1420.
the ship that rammed him as well is just completely on fire. There's a cat now. Oh my god,
That T-burn just immediately just left.
Rory.
Yeah.
He starts reading a note at 15 minutes. Let's see how long this goes on for. A
Uh,
whole minute and a half of reading a note.
yeah. We don't really care about that stuff. That's the shit we want to find as players.
Yeah, like you wanna read the lore and see what's going on in the game, sure, but I don't want to sit for a minute and a half listening. It's not even like a main piece. They just like sailed away and then started reading a random note.
And he does it again for about 2 minutes.
There's some cinematic cameras.
Yeah.
1830, you're like on the front of the ship. It's all right. The water though at the front doesn't look too great.
No.
Like
It looks
your ship
better
going
from
through
where
the
it
water.
was.
The angle's cool to see, but you see things you probably shouldn't see.
Yeah.
The
Like,
ships just go like absurdly fast as well. Like
hmm. My big question is, are you able to do what a pirate should be able to do? Hold guns, have a sword, fight on land, not just on ship.
yeah, he
Are
didn't
you able?
seem like he was holding anything at the start of the video when they had
No. Are
Yeah,
you able
you're
to
right.
board
There's
other
the 2 minutes of flipping dialogue again. When
Yeah,
does that
skipped
start?
ahead.
Starts at 20 minutes basically.
Yeah, finishes at 22:16.
Over 2 minutes then of dialogue. Oof.
Yeah.
Just for like a random thing that he stopped at.
Yeah. But, as a pirate, you'd expect him to be fighting not just on the
Yeah,
ships, but also on
not
land.
just looking and spam clicking.
Yeah. I don't see any of that. I don't see any shipboarding or anything like that. No, it's just destroy.
They're
I,
on land again at 26 minutes, having to very slowly walk around the place.
yeah, I'm at 27 minutes at the moment,
Not
and he's
I'm not
just
seeing
walking
like
up to
any
NPCs.
guns or swords holstered or anything.
No, because, pirates trust everyone. That's how it works.
And it's making me think that there is no fighting on land. It's only your ship where you just basically spam left click from the I would guess to shoot your cannonballs.
Yeah, it very much seems like that. It's quite a letdown, isn't it?
Have you seen the chest looting at 30 minutes in?
What the hell? Everything disappeared.
Let me just pat this down for a few seconds.
Reminds me of Assassin's Creed looting. Just pat their body, then all of a sudden, oh, I own everything.
And then there's not a minute of dialogue
Oh, that is so disappointing.
and was that a very small amount of ship customization?
Yeah,
You have three options for the head of your ship.
right. You know what? Here we are. Ubisoft cancels 3 unannounced games and delays Skull of Burns again. Let's find out what these other games were, shall we? Because some people seem to have worked out some bits.
Right. Well, while you quickly nosy at that, I will mute for 1 second. I shall be right back.
Problem, mate. So, I do actually have something else to add to the Ubisoft debacle.
Go on. I'm
So
intrigued.
there was a few other articles that came out about the constant move towards live service games. Now, you know what a live service game is, don't you?
I would imagine it's something that's server that's constantly running. That's like even when there's no one on it.
Basically, it's a game that's designed to keep people engaged for as long as possible by frequently adding new content and updates. So Rust would
Similar to
technically,
yeah, similar to what Rust does. Then I would
yeah,
imagine. Okay.
but Basically, imagine that as a game like an Assassin's Creed game.
Okay.
So Valhalla has started to come under that category because of the constant DLCs and things like that. But
I
I
can't respect games that constantly release DLCs and then make you pay for them.
yeah, I know exactly what you mean. Here it is. It's an opinion piece that I came across. And basically, it just says Ubisoft's latest growing pains show how hard it is to shift a company entirely towards live services and whether consumers actually want this. And it goes on to talk about how basically most of their newer games, the new platforms brought with them higher fidelity assets. So, with the PlayStation 5 and things like that, it was a more higher focus on the graphical fidelity than other situations. But Ubisoft clearly isn't the kind of struggling publisher that gets laid low by a bump in development costs. But the messaging here does seem familiar. A couple of years into the new hardware generation, a publisher is finding it hard to square its cost with the reality of its sales numbers and is trying to course correct by clearing out of its product state. So basically, what they've started to do is create these live service products because they're struggling to actually justify the costs if they're not constantly earning off the same game. Seems to be the major issue for them.
Excuse me, sorry.
It's alright. A big one here. Games that should have a credit roll after 50 to 80 hours instead keep trying to get players to come back to do weird and pointless in-game events for Christmas or Valentine's Day or Halloween. I was playing Dying Light 2 recently. I don't know if you've played it.
I
But
played some of it, and honestly, I couldn't enjoy it, man.
I enjoy the parkour, but that's me. That's pretty much the reason I play it, is because it's nice movement mechanics. I wish there was more, but the story really isn't that good.
Even the parkour though was killing me because you're like so limited in time at the start of the game. I know it
Yeah.
slowly increases like as you progress more, but the fact that like you're forced to progress just so
Oh.
you can climb.
Yeah, it's very different to the first Dying Light, isn't it?
I would happily go back and play the first one rather than continue to play the second one. To be honest, the
No, I
first
can
one
see that.
was far more enjoyable, and people complained about the first one having guns, saying it like ruined it, made it too easy. But that's because they didn't moderate themselves to like sometimes use guns, but sometimes use melee because the melee was
Yeah,
quite fun.
the
You
melee
actually
was really
added a
enjoyable.
bit of challenge as you went further and came into bigger hordes.
No, I get that entirely. I really enjoyed the first one. I never completed the following DLC. I do need to go back and do that. But
I tried you know the one where like there's a bomb on your wrist or something or that's going off. You have to like complete the puzzles before it goes off and kills you on
didn't
their
you and
weird
me play
DLC.
that together?
Yeah, we did.
I thought so.
That's the only one that I've played. I haven't bothered with any other ones.
Ah, you and me should go back and play the other DLC where it's like open world outdoors and they give you a car and shit like that. Because
Did we
apparently
do that
that's
one as well? Didn't we play it like a little bit?
I've not touched it at all.
I've drove around the car for about 30 seconds, crushed a few zombies, slapped them a few of them around the face, and called it a day.
That's about right.
That's I remember doing that, but I didn't really like do much of it, you know.
Yeah, no, I get what you mean. But Dying Light 2 would very much be classified as like a live service game because even though the story's ended where it has, and they do sometimes bring out DLCs to continue that story, they are also updating and they release things for like Christmas, New Year's, Halloween,
I don't
Valentine's
I
Day.
don't like um holiday events.
No, neither do I. It reminds me very much of old school RPG MMOs.
they just it's because they're just like take away from the main aim of the game. Like, I can take a straight back to Rust again for another example. Like
Go for it.
the events that come out for Easter, Halloween, and Christmas. You get the Easter eggs you pick up on Easter. You get candy for Halloween. You get presents for Christmas. You can pick these up and you can get items. You can get guns from them, and it completely takes away from like getting your first gun, like trying to make a play on someone to get your first gun, or the
Yeah.
excitement of finding a gun while you're out roaming and like trying to get back home so you can research and craft more for your whole team, anything like that.
Mm.
It kind of takes away from the main aspect of the game and like what you would normally do.
No, I completely understand that. It does feel like it to an extent. It does ruin a lot of what everyone expects from the game.
Well, they recently changed the Christmas one. Well, not recently, it's just probably a while ago now. But I think either the Easter one or the Halloween one, you can still get like really OP guns from like the max tier.
Mm.
So you would get like small candies, eggs, or presents. You turn them into medium and then turn them into large, and the large one give you the best items.
Yeah, I remember
And
that
for a
from
while,
two
you were
years
able
ago.
to get M249s from the large things.
Yeah.
And obviously, well, in my opinion, before the recall, because now the M2 is a horrific gun because of the aim cone on it.
Mm.
But before the recall, the M2 was the most OP weapon in the game. Like you could
Yeah.
put an 8x on that thing, and you could kill anyone almost instantly from absurd distances, from close range to long range.
Yeah, it was the most
And it was
sought
the
after
most
weapon.
precisely to just then be a Zerg, just gathering up these presents and candies and eggs during the events and just spamming them all because there's so many of you, so many more would spawn, and there's actually
Yeah.
like a way to get them to spawn in certain places because it depends on where you're looking as you pick one up where the new ones spawn. So it would be so easy if you were doing it right to get what you need, like I get more of them,
At which
and
point it's
you would
unfair.
just end up with like an absurd amount of them, and by the end of that, you would probably end up with like just a box of M249s, which is just like the most OP gun in the game.
Mm. Which is exactly the opposite of what you're wanting realistically.
Yeah, like it's tough to get an M2. You have to go and either take down the Bradley NPC and launch site where people can counter, or you have to take heli from your base, which again people can counter because you
Mm.
can't have it land on your base, or at least it's very tough to do, and it's a little bit RNG related depending on what way the heli falls once you take it
Yeah.
down. So you're having to deal with other players coming and countering that, and then you also only have a chance to get it. Whereas with these events, you just can get it just from doing nothing. You don't even have to face another player.
Yeah, I do think live service in this regard, the event systems like that, they do take away. Events back when I started out PC gaming, a lot of events, for example, the fucking. Did you ever play TF2 when you first started on PC?
I messed around in it a little bit. I have played a few games of it before. Never really understood the concept of what happened half the time because it was just chaos,
Oh,
but
it's
not a whole lot. But
reason,
I do know it.
reason I mention it is because Halloween events on TF2 were massively loved. They'd have basically one giant boss to fight every time, and
Yeah.
you'd go onto this map and you'd try and basically survive, and then you'd fight the giant boss with the enemy teams fighting you at the same time, and it was mental. But if you defeated it, you could get like a rare hat or something like that, and everyone loved doing
So
it.
it would be a cosmetic.
Yeah, it was something
Okay.
fun to do, and you got rewarded cosmetically. Or back,
I miss those days of an
yeah,
item was purely cosmetic because even these days with your quote unquote cosmetic items, there's still advantages to them
yeah,
because again going back to Rust with skins for your guns that have a glowing iron sight. So when it's pitch black and with Rust current lighting, you can't see a thing when it's nighttime. But you have a glowing iron sight that just you can see exactly where you're aiming.
mm. Or another example, back in the days of World of Warcraft, when people used to love playing that. I know there's still a giant community for it, but
It's
compared to back then,
definitely not close to its
yeah,
original player base.
it's dwindled
And
massively.
it's a very particular taste for that game now as well.
Yeah,
I feel
well,
like you don't get too many new players anymore on it.
not particularly much, sadly. But, well, I say sadly, they kind of destroyed it themselves. There's nothing anyone can do on that run. But the events back then, you had to defeat a full-on dungeon with a clan to get a reward. That was the scale of events back in those days. You'd have to complete a hard task to be rewarded for it. It's not as
The only
simple as picking up small things and working out
my
that
only
way.
complaint about something like that would be having to get players. So when a game slowly dies, which for 99% of games it's inevitable,
Oh yeah.
it means doing these huge events become impossible because you require so many people and you either don't have friends that want to play it or there's just not enough random people
Oh, 100%.
looking to do it. And anytime you do finally manage to get those few people you scrape up in the lobby, there's usually that one person that is just has everything in the game and just walks through it and you are useless and you're just running behind them and it completely ruins the game,
Yeah. Bit like,
which is when games just slowly die, and that's a sad thing to see.
oh, 100% it is. But I mean, doing something like we were just talking about cosmetics
Yeah,
that have stats or advantages.
yeah,
I'm sure it wouldn't be too difficult to basically get something that, as long as they follow, so basically, let's say it's an RPG, an MMORPG, and it's a cosmetic item, and then they have been given a quest list to perform while wearing this cosmetic item. The more that they complete of this quest list, the higher the stats on the cosmetics they get are. Now there's a cap, obviously, to keep it at a standard so that they don't go stupidly daft.
yeah. So like
But
it doesn't compare to like epic or legendary items
yeah,
or whatever's equivalent.
but
But
it's
it's
just a
something that's
nice
maybe
reward.
like a very slight boost compared to the regular items you're wearing because maybe you're grinding to try and get this epic or legendary item.
Yeah, but
Just
you know,
it's a replacement just to give you a little boost in your stats until you get that, but
yeah,
nothing
exactly.
like obscene that's like just all of a sudden turns you into a god.
Yeah, exactly that. But something like that would be quite nice to see, because then you're being rewarded for your time playing. You've done the event successfully, and it was a challenge to earn.
Yeah.
That would feel worth it to a player. But all we get is, yeah, go do this. Collect these things. Get overpowered item. Enjoy. It's, it doesn't feel the same anymore. It doesn't feel worth the time to put into it. As you were saying earlier, with Rust and making it so much easier during these event days, I'm sure to a lot of players, they're like,
When these
yeah,
events happen, I basically just don't play the game because they go on
yeah,
for a whole month almost, and it kind of just makes it pointless.
that's what I was thinking. A lot of players, I'm sure, will think like that as well. And then you'll see, though, that some people come back to the game just because they know they can easily throw it together for that 1 month. So it's
Yeah,
like conflict of interest in that regard. Do the developers want to focus on their mainstream audience or the people that will come back for a quick month and then fuck off again?
you would
Mm.
definitely want to focus on the mainstream because you're getting what like 2 to 3 months of a few players coming back just for that short amount of time that aren't spending any money on these cosmetic items that you're releasing every week.
Exactly.
Or do you want to keep the players that play for 9 months and don't play when these events are happening?
Mm.
That are
No,
probably buying loads of your cosmetic items that again are released every week.
exactly. No, I completely agree. Well, in good news, I've got one more irritating topic to discuss, but then I've got two happier ones.
Oh,
So
there's a light at the end of the tunnel.
exactly. I think it's better to go through the bullshit to get to the happier stage. So the next one is: have you heard about the new Hogwarts Legacy that's coming out?
Heard about it. I don't really know anything of it though. I do remember someone telling me about something of it.
No, it. I'll be honest. Me and my partner Shane, as you know, we're looking forward to this game. Really want to play it. Obviously, there's a lot of controversy due to the author of Harry Potter and all that sort of jazz. I'm personally not going to go into that. I just want to play the game. It looks like a fun game. Simple as
Yeah.
that. But recently it was announced that PlayStation exclusive they're going to have a Quest that we have to wait a full year to get a hold of on PC and Xbox.
This whole console war thing where like there's exclusives for each one, I think is a joke. Like I'm
Saying
not
it for
gonna
years.
buy. I'm a PC player. I spend not now in comparison to yourself. My PC costs 1,200. That's nothing for you in comparison to yours. But I still spent 1,200 quid plus my monitor. We're talking near 1,500 quid
Oh yeah,
if you include the peripherals as well to get my PC. I'm not gonna go and then spend a further 500 quid to get a PlayStation just then also pay like 60 quid for the same game just to get one quest line.
yeah, and then
I
online on
don't
top of that.
yeah, I don't get the reasoning. I don't get the thought process behind stuff like that.
No, I don't either. Um, but then there's also a lot of people that obviously argue against us in regards and just say, "Oh well, why would you spend that much money on a platform to play games? Because that's the platform we enjoy."
Not to mention just the absurd limits that PC breaks.
Yeah,
We can easily go into this argument. Sure it costs a
yeah.
lot of money, but when you're someone who wants to have your games look nice, and I mean look really, really nice, and not stutter, freeze, crash, blue screen, whatever you want
Oh,
to call it, ring of death, none of that crap.
oh
Just a
God, I
little
remember
bit of
that.
maintenance, just a little bit of maintenance every now and then, and you're right as rain.
Yeah, I mean, my PC wouldn't boot this morning when I was going to load up for everything today. And
Terrifying.
terrifying situation. And all I did was I turned it off, left my monitors turned on, went down for a smoke, came back up, turned it on again, off it did. It just went. Everything ran fine. But
Just
remember,
having a
everyone.
moment.
But remember, everyone. PCs are awful to troubleshoot. Turn it off, turn it on again. I work in IT, trust me, that works. But no, I've argued against exclusivity for years. You know this yourself. It's one thing I massively disagree with in the gaming industry.
It doesn't make sense.
Not anymore. It'd be better to base it on the merits of the platform. Like, I can understand why people would want a console. I can understand why.
If you're just a casual gamer, I
Yeah,
say go for it. Get a console. If you're someone like yourself or myself, we both enjoy our games. I personally like the moment I get home, I'm straight on my PC, getting on with my friend, playing some games, having some fun.
I'll say.
And I like to optimize my games. I like to have them look nice. I like to have like a very large base of games to play off of.
No, 100%. I mean, you've seen my fucking Steam library. 604 games on there alone, and then I've got
Yeah.
my Xbox, Ubisoft, and the rest. So there's a lot there. And
Like there
considering
used
the.
to be a whole war between like console and PC, but
Oh,
nowadays
yeah.
it's like it depends on what you're wanting to do. If you're wanting to like go into a lot of gaming, I would recommend PC. But if you want to just you get home from work, you want to sit down, play some games, then just get a console.
Yeah,
It's a lot less stressful. Uh, it doesn't cost as much, but you're not gonna get as much out of it as you would with a PC. But if
yeah.
you're not looking that much out of it, then just get a console.
No, 100% I agree. Um, like, the big thing that I'd say actually did put, like, this big carve into the PC versus console debate was when Xbox actually did release a lot of their things to come over.
Yeah, I remember that happened, and that pretty much just shut everyone up, didn't it?
Yeah, with Game Pass linking everyone, with the Xbox application linking everyone, it became a big sort of community on that regard where PC and Xbox were pretty much joined, which I'm fine with. It brings its own benefits to both sides. I'm happy with that. Uh, I'd love to see PlayStation do something similar, to be honest. Not exactly like a Game Pass,
I
but
mean,
just link us
I
more.
believe I believe that someday, maybe the near future, maybe the far future, you'll be able to play all games on all platforms.
I'd
Maybe
love
maybe
that.
not the handheld ones. That might be a bit of a stretch.
Hey, we have
But
Steam Deck.
I've not even looked into it, and just the thought of it just makes me want to steer further away.
Hey, Ian earned what? Ian earned one. He bought one.
I know they were giving loads away for on the Twitch stream that's
Dream.
going on.
Yeah. Ian
Um,
actually went away and bought one, and he's been trying it out over this last week. Apparently, it's more powerful than he actually anticipated. It's running really well.
I mean, maybe we will get there, but
I'm hoping so.
I personally believe that one day you will be able to play anything on any platform.
Yeah.
But it's a while away. But the only differences will be, obviously, PC will most likely still be stronger. So
Oh yeah.
the main differences that there will be is just how things look and run.
Yeah, pretty much. And that at that point, we're running off. Are you casual? Are you not?
Yeah,
And that to me is great. But the current issue is always going to be Sony v Xbox, and that is what it's all running down to.
yep.
And it's
Well,
sad.
it's nothing that concerns me because I'm on PC.
Same here. So,
It
shall we
still
move
makes me
on?
laugh hearing about it, though.
Oh, same. Shall we move on to the happier subject?
Yes, let's get
So,
away from the hateful anger.
these aren't really in regards to any issues or anything really that broke news, but I just thought this one was quite nice. A No Man's Sky fan designed a Lego starship in the game.
Must tick a lot.
That's what I'm thinking. I actually just want to see if I can pull this article up because from what I saw, it looks really cool. And here we are. Send it you this across so you can have a look. But the time and effort this must have taken. But I just thought, it was something nice. Something a bit sweeter than, you know, the typical diversity we're coming across.
Mm, a lot these days as well.
Oh, 100%.
That's actually something you don't see too much of now. There's not nearly as many friendly players in games anymore because
Oh,
well, it's not that they're not there. It's that they're less trusting now.
yeah, 100%. I mean,
Like they've been done wrong by so many people that they don't know if they can trust anyone. And when you don't know if you can trust them or not, your usual go-to is no.
yeah. It's very much as to what I was discussing with you a couple of months ago. I very much do struggle to do what we used to do, where we could talk to anyone online. It's why when you and me went on VR chat just the other month, I was quite struggling to talk because I was struggling to kind of project what I'd usually be like because I'm just other people. It doesn't fit as well as it used to. And it's sad because I used to enjoy that side of just communicating with randoms and seeing what random shit could come out of it. It was good
Yeah,
fun. I mean, that's how
I
you and
know.
me met, for fuck's sake.
Yeah, but unfortunately, that's coming to 10 years ago now, and unfortunately, things just aren't what they used to be 10 years ago.
Oh, 100%. Sad to see.
But actually, that makes me think of something else. In terms of gaming in general, it's not cool to be good at a game anymore.
Oh no, it's toxic if you are nowadays.
But there's just so many people that are like the average for being good has dropped so much that you don't have to be much at a game to be good at it.
And you can just fucking buy upgrades for most games if you want to, just to be able
Yeah,
to fucking reach the level of a friend who's been playing for about 2.5 years.
yeah. But it's crazy to think about that. How like the way the video was going was like back in Call of Duty, like the old days. Like we go back to Black Ops 1. You know,
Oh,
if you found someone who was good at the game, you actually wanted to play with them because it was another person good at the game, and
yeah,
you
100%.
could just pull off some crazy games. Whereas nowadays, if you're good at a game, you're sweaty, you're called trash, you're called no life. You know,
Yeah.
it's not what it used to be, and it's crap to see.
Hmm. It's a very toxic environment nowadays, and it just makes people miserable. A lot of people don't
And
bother playing with
that's
others.
another point I want to make. No one knows how to have fun in a game anymore. It's all about winning.
Mm,
But sometimes it used to not be all about winning. It used to be just about having a laugh.
yeah, having a
And
good time.
now it's just who is the sweatiest, you know?
100%.
It's sad to see because you can't jump into a random game like you were just saying. We can't just jump into something random and start talking with people because the moment you see someone, no matter what gear they have, you just it's shoot on sight straight away.
Yeah,
There's
100%.
no interaction with the player base anymore.
The player base has just diluted itself to toxicity and the occasional people like us who want to try and go a bit further, but then they're like, yeah, we'll just punch you back into your hole because we don't want to deal with you.
Yeah.
It's even worse though if you try and pick up a game that has been out for a while and the community has just been left to fester because the toxicity you get from that is insane.
Yep.
It's not even fucking, Modern Warfare 2 Call of Duty lobby days.
I
There's no.
remember sometimes I would like very rarely now I would jump on to Modern Warfare. I think it was either one, two, or both. And you
Yeah,
would hop into this lobby and you would just there would be a hacker in the lobby, but it wasn't a guy going around aimbotting everyone. He was making the lobby just absolute chaos and super fun. Like he would be giving people crazy stuff. That you'd be getting crazy stuff. Like one I joined, I got a pinpoint crosshair, so I had no aim cone. I had no inaccurate shots. They shot in the center of my screen wherever I looked,
yeah.
and it was just fun because it was something different. Whereas
Well,
nowadays, if there's someone cheating slash hacking, he's all about just going around and ruining everybody's day.
yep. The best example of this. Do you remember Grand Theft Auto 5 Online?
I know of it, yeah.
Back
Not
at
played it, but I've
back at the
seen it.
start of GTA 5 Online, there was hackers that go out and basically Rockstar made it so you on purposely needed to spend money IRL to get anywhere. Otherwise, you were grinding for thousands of hours. Now,
That's lovely of them.
yeah, there were hackers out there that would give other players money to try and alleviate this a bit, which they were hated, as you can imagine, by Rockstar. Some
Yeah.
people hated it, some people were alright with it. I was on the fence either way. I kind of got pissed off with it after one because I got fucking banned, which that just fucking annoyed the shit out of me. Got my account wiped and everything. Um, but then there were others out there who would basically just spawn stuff in, have a laugh. You'd see ragdolls just randomly appearing in front of you. It was just funny. And now you get it to it in modern day. They'll spam your chats, they'll spam your text messages, they'll blow you up, they'll lock you in cages so you can't do anything. Shit
They'll
like
just
that.
torture you and make it so you don't enjoy the game and you just want to leave.
Yeah. I logged on the other week for the first time in about a year and a half. And there was a guy who was spamming the text chat and my text messages simultaneously. He was doing it to everyone in the lobby at once. And it was just gibberish and links to sites so that he could earn money off it.
And then with you
That's not
saying that,
gaming.
even people that aren't in with hacks on their account and anything, even just regular players that go around and like just spam the chat or spam the voice chat with distasteful music or
Yep.
anything of the sorts, because they've had a shit day, or they're I hate to say it, but they're not good at the game and they're annoyed and they just decide to take it out on everyone and ruin everyone else's gaming experience instead of just either getting off or going and playing a different game that they're actually good at.
100%.
And they instead just decide, well, you know what? I'm just going to be a complete scumbag.
Oh yeah, it's sad, but it happens way too often, and it's become just such a staple mark of gaming as a thing today that I don't think things will get better until people start clamping on it. But I don't think it'll happen. You
That's
report things and developers ignore it.
that's the problem. They can't do anything about it because it's all the player base. It's not like a certain kind of people, a certain age of people, a certain anything. It's everyone. Like again, I'll bring it back to Russ. You either hear a 40-year-old man screaming obscenities at you, or you have a 12-year-old child running around yelling racism that he doesn't even understand.
Yeah.
There's no between. It's just everything.
Hmm. But
And
then you'll have
if they
that
were
12.
to start banning and muting and doing whatever to get these people out of the game, they're banning half their player base, which is banning half their income. And
Exactly.
because the money, or because the world side revolves around money, they're not going to do that.
100%. It's horrific, but nothing can be done. That's kind of the loop we land in. And it just slowly takes its toll until most regular people will eventually just get so sick of it. And I'm hoping that won't happen. I know I've not been playing half as much lately, but I've been playing a lot more of my single player VR games or some
Yeah,
co-op ones with yourself. And
yeah.
that's where I've been at, and I've been enjoying that a lot more. I mean, after the fall, which if no one's played that VR game, you need to try it at least once. Such a
Amazing
good game.
gunplay. That's all I need to say about it, man. It's just amazing gunplay.
Oh
It's
yeah.
just it's fun and it's enjoyable. They don't make it difficult.
No,
You hop in, you run around shooting and reloading, and it's just fun.
100%. But that one time on the train when we just got back and someone was on the train where we'd always just take his headsets off 5 minutes, I will never forget that moment where the guy just comes in, tries to get his attention. We tell him to go away, and because there's no voice chat, we had to try and do it by just waving his hands. He then tells me to go fuck myself by putting his fist up his own arm. So we just chased him round. I was doing that to him, and Will just kept pointing away and running after him. It was just fun, mindless enjoyment.
Mm.
But everyone had a laugh. Even the guy himself, you could tell, was laughing. It's stuff like that I miss.
Yeah, it doesn't happen nearly as often as it used to.
Now, but you can still find the odd people, and they're always enjoyable to come across.
Absolutely.
So, I have one last bit of information, and
Okay,
this one I
throw it at
saved
me.
because it's actually something I'm really looking forward to. There was a game that came out that was being developed, and it's still in development at the moment, but it comes out next month, I believe it is, called Atomic Heart.
Like art.
Mm. Basically,
I cannot say I've heard of it, unfortunately.
no problem. If we actually go across to Steam real quick and go to the store page, and you can take a quick look at this game.
I would
But
if Steam wasn't down. There we go.
no problem. But basically, it's based in like a utopian version of the Soviet Union, where there's all sorts of fucking robots and shit. And it looks phenomenal as the game goes. And
Ripping a guy in half in that screenshot with your hand, with tentacles coming out of your hand. Bear with me 1 second, Roy.
no problem. But yeah, overall, this is all. And it looks bloody phenomenal. And I've been so excited about it for so long at this point that I was oddly happy to hear that some of the gameplay had leaked online. because it's no story based from what I've heard. It's just some leaked gameplay footage that will actually show us how the game is and how it's going to feel. Which, yes, I suppose this first video does have some of that, but we don't see any HUD or anything like that, so it's a bit better to get the details. And I'm extremely excited for this and see what will actually come of it, because it looks like a phenomenal game. And now we get to wait till Hannah gets back.
I am back.
There he is, see? Magic. It's like we bloody planned this. We do not.
What a
But I was just saying, basically, going over it all, that basically it just looks like a phenomenal Bioshock-esque game, but with
it looks
modern
very,
graphics.
very interesting.
It does, doesn't it? But it looks phenomenal, and even in the trailers and things, it looks like that.
That first trailer is a great trailer.
Yeah,
They're like that's one thing another thing I hate about games these days is so much of not actual gameplay footage.
yeah,
Whereas this, they're just straight into you, showing a bunch of different guns and a bunch of different things, and it looks awesome, and it makes me want to play it because it
yeah,
looks absolutely chaotic, and the gunplay looks really good. Even the melee weapons look really cool.
yeah, and that's why I'm so excited. Now, the reason I've put this on good news, even though it's kind of upsetting for the developers, is because they have leaked. There has been some leaks of actual gameplay footage showing the HUD and everything that
There's
has come
actually
online.
one of their trailers here, 7-minute gameplay, which is probably in reference to what you're saying. Because it's been
Probably,
leaked, they probably just went, well, if it's been leaked, we may as well put it there ourselves, so we get
most likely,
most of the what's it called?
ad revenue. Uh,
That sort of stuff.
yeah, but this is one of their first games, and it's been delayed so much. But it looks like they've taken that time to fucking let the games bake in the oven and create something that's gonna be phenomenal.
Yeah.
I mean, that's 7 minute of footage. You can see him walking down the fucking stairs with like what I can only imagine is a railgun, and you can just see the graphics stand even there. You can see the hairs individually on his arm
Yeah.
in gameplay.
It doesn't look like it's gonna be an easy game.
No, it doesn't, does it?
Even these like little small plant looking things that are attacking him.
It looks like it's going to be a challenge, but it looks like it's going to be fun and something different, and that's what I look forward to. So I've not seen,
Interesting healing mechanic, something I've not seen before.
not seen that yet. How far are you in the?
Uh, two 250. Go to 2 minutes 50.
Oh, I just see what you mean by the combat.
It's
Oh,
very
full on
it's
stamina
very
system.
very basic, but something different, that you've not seen before.
Just waiting because he's just finishing off the plant guys. The melee does look actually quite interesting.
It's going to be a little tough. I don't know if maybe
Yeah,
that's because of the style of weapon he has, where it's a heavier weapon, so it's slower swinging, but
definitely could be.
more damage.
Right, it's a 2 minute 50. Oh, that is interesting.
Something different, but it's still just very basic.
It's based around the idea of what is going to be probably a key part. Oh, we can hack as well with it. So yeah, the
Yeah,
thing in
there's
his
like
hand's going to be a key
a lot of
mechanic.
different things. You can like, from the seams of it, rip people in half with it as well.
Yeah, but it's
So it's
very
gonna,
much
it's like I don't want to make this comparison, but the first thing that came to my mind there was imagine your augmentations in Deus Ex just in your hand.
yeah.
So
Or
like the shockwave and stuff like that.
the way I was thinking, once again, taking it back, Bioshock, with the plasmids and that. Whenever you'd inject health or Eve, it was all done just into the same section of your arm, and it was
Yeah.
the tattoo that you had. the chain
Yeah.
for Bioshock 1. Also, did you see how when he was fighting one of the robots, it was slowly taking bits of his clothing away just to reveal the circuits?
Yeah.
That
That's
I like.
actually one thing I was thinking about earlier, just while laying in bed. I would love to, if with all these quality of life updates they're doing for Rust, I'd love to see just like as your weapons and stuff lose durability, just to see a change in the way they look. No
Yeah,
change in like their stats and stuff, just a cosmetic change in the look of them. It's just something really cool,
yeah, 100%. It looks better for it. I mean,
and
like,
it's so simple to do. It's just as simple as once it reaches a certain durability, there it just looks slightly damaged, or like maybe for the guns, some of the paint has came off. For your
yeah,
weapons, like it looks blunter, slightly damaged.
100%.
It's just something cool to see a developer do, and like it just means they're really putting time into it to make it look as good as they can.
Oh, 100%, I agree. Um, it's like a bit when I'm seeing here with this guy, he's fighting that tentacle monster at the moment. Uh, if the way I'd look at it, if they were to add a durability system to this, I'd quite like to see the saws like either starting to slow down, the chains starting to come away, and then eventually one of the saws probably falling off. Stuff like that. If I was to add a durability system to it, there might not be.
But then
I,
when it comes to durability, I worry because when I tried to play Fallout 76 and you have to pay to repair your weapons,
yep,
you have to pay real cash just to repair your guns, I found absolutely ridiculous.
I actually
I
did have an article about Fallout 76.
I couldn't believe that stopped me playing it. The moment I realized that when one of my guns was getting low and I found that out, I googled it to see if there's any way, and the only way you can do it is by pay, and that's it. I was off of it
You
straight
get
away.
to the part where he just disconnected the chain from his weapon.
I don't think I saw that. No, where's that?
It's at 5 minutes 50. 5 minutes 49 I'd recommend going to. Because it does a bit more than just what you think it does. But watch this. Because it looks like there's different ways these weapons work. I think it looks like there is.
Holy!
Yeah, and just keep watching until about 6 minutes 20. You'll see something even cooler.
There you go. That's sort of like a durability system, I guess.
Yeah,
They, I guess they broke after doing so much damage, and he had to recharge them, and then he got eaten.
yes. But that was cool. Like something so different. And that's why I'm so interested in Atomic Heart. But there's just so much to it, and I look forward to seeing games like that come to fruition again. And I do hope that whatever they do actually turns out to be enjoyable for everyone, and not just absolute dog wank.
Hopefully they don't. If it does turn out to be a great game, hopefully they don't ruin it with 10 different paid DLCs.
Yeah, I mean their current um, paid versions, their premiums and things, from what I can see, the standard edition pre-order gets you some skins. The gold edition gets you a skin and a DLC, and then after that, the most expensive one, literally gets you a digital art book and two extra skins. So the Atomic Pass literally gets you one skin and the DLC, and that's it. So they plan to upload one DLC at most. Which, as long as there's not, don't payday it. As sad as it is, I have to say that. Because Payday 3 has been announced. It's coming out this year, apparently. I'm excited.
I was not aware of that.
Yep, they announced it. It's on Steam. The trailer is pretty small, but yeah, Payday 3 planned release date 2023.
I'd love to be able to hop on that train because I missed the Payday 2 train.
Yeah.
Coming to it so late, everyone already knew everything and how to do everything, and it was kind of
Eh.
over for me by the time
Yeah.
I was able to get around to it, as you already know, due to my circumstances.
Yeah.
So it'd be cool to get on board with it and play through it.
Well, we'll have to do that together when it comes out.
Absolutely. Meet you,
Well,
Peter and Ian. Easy four man.
easy. Well, I'd say with that, I'd say we've done a first good episode.
Yeah.
So that's all for this episode. I hope you guys have enjoyed. If you have, feel free to do. I think it's like and subscribing or liking on the podcast website. I'll find out the
You're
specifics.
able to follow it.
Follow it. Then follow us.
It was saying if you type the link of our website into any like podcast app you use,
Wonderful.
it'll like subscribe you to it so you can follow it and get I guess you get updates.
Nice one. So yeah, feel free to follow us with whichever websites you use for podcasts. It'd be great to have you all.